According to figures compiled by KPMG, Africa yesterday was trending. And in fact, Africa has been one of the buzzwords here at the 42nd annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos. Now, it is a marketer's dream. Wherever you go, people are talking about Africa as the next investment frontier. And with us now to try and chat around some of those issues that are coming up and how a marketer can try and take advantage of that is Miller Matola, CEO of Brand South Africa. Miller, thanks for your time. As I said, this is a marketer's dream. Wherever you walk around, you hear people talking. What you hear consistently is the message of positiveness around Africa. What have you been hearing?
Godfrey, Africa's image is increasingly improving, and what we are hearing, the sentiment out there is that Africa's time has come, and Africa is the next growth story, and there's huge interest in seeing how Africa can also contribute towards the debates around finding new models of sustainable growth. Absolutely.
So now from your perspective, now you interact of course with South African businessmen who are coming here. We are interacting with African business people, political leaders coming out of Africa as well as other global leaders. Give us a sense of some of the issues that they are raising.
We had a roundtable with a number of leaders, business leaders and government leaders as Brand South Africa, and what's coming through there is that Africa needs to increase its profile and position in the world. It needs to focus on increasing regional economic integration and ensuring that it can take advantage of this huge interest that is now being focused on South Africa.
Right. So let's talk about
South Africa as well as Africa.
Sure, because part of the conversation really is no longer just South Africa and Africa, it's very much Africa. I attended a roundtable yesterday where there was a discussion around what role Africa as a continent can play on global stage, and increasingly what you heard is that it's about Africa. Now, from your perspective, so what initiatives then do you take to try and take advantage of the current positive vibes that are emanating around Africa?
Look, as Brand South Africa, Godfrey, we have to influence and inform the conversations about where South Africa should be going and taking advantage of this increased interest on the continent. Sure. But we also have to communicate that. And part of what we're doing is communicating this positive interest that is being focused on the continent and South Africa. I think what is interesting is that it was mentioned in one of the roundtables that Africa could also serve as the food basket for the world, and it is important that we start focusing on issues such as agriculture to help drive that. And I think there's increasingly a view that with regional economic integration, Africa will not only enhance its own competitiveness, ensure that it develops regional supply chains as well as value chains, but also taps into this huge interest in the continent.
So how do we project this image of Africa across the globe as one entity? You are working as Brand South Africa. How do you bring the other then organizations that are talking around the positivity of Africa from other parts of the continent?
Well, we liaise with all other entities that are responsible for marketing their own countries. But I think for us what is important is that we enhance the profiling and positioning of Africa, the continent, in terms of increased democratization on the continent, but the opportunities that also exist on the continent. I mean, 60% of arable land you find on the continent here. The continent is rich in terms of resources, and mineral resources and others, and we need to, in a very systematic way, ensure that we profile these opportunities to the world, but say that we need to find new models in exploring these assets. And I think in that regard, we should learn from what's happening in the Eurozone. Sure. Regional economic integration is important, but let us also learn from what's happening in the Eurozone as we move forward.